today's topic, what we're going to go over is why do great athletes sometimes choke? Somebody asked us this question the other day, so I thought I'd just give one of the more probable reasons for this. So first and foremost, most athletes choke on a big stage, right? So that big stage is actually a change in their normal climate. Their normal climate being an everyday game, regular season game, but then when they hit maybe playoff championships, nationals, whether we're in Olympic weightlifting or something to that effect, the change in climate has now sort of altered their entire psyche. What we'll see next is an altered orientation. So we have two different types of orientations. We always talk about one being task, where the athlete is focused very centrally on the skill and improving the finer movements that are necessary to get better at that skill. Ego comes into play, not ego in the perception where, you know, I'm very proud or anything like that. It's more of ego, and what that means is a preoccupation with others' viewpoints. So an athlete in Olympic weightlifting may feel as though they don't belong to this national stage, where they feel as though they're not ready for that stage. And what that means is now we're having decrements to our self-efficacy. So self-efficacy is essentially my belief that I am efficient or productive enough at that movement pattern or that task to succeed. And if now I'm having decreases to my self-efficacy, you can bet that the next step is going to be a transfer from automated action. You hear people constantly talk about the concept of flow. Flow is an automated state, a state where the athlete is just a being and it is moving through motions like air, hence the word flow. What ends up happening then is their altered movement patterns are a result of the fact that now the athlete is thinking too much. They're thinking about concepts, they're thinking about whether or not they belong in this environment, they're thinking about whether they've given enough power, enough strength, enough effort to training, are they prepared enough? All of these things are now going on in this athlete's head, as opposed to just, I'm here to dominate and this is my destiny. That is really where flow would step in. Instead, great athletes or athletes that are normally very successful can get very altered along this pattern, and you can start to see breaks in the chain. How does a coach stop this, right? Just because we know how this happens doesn't mean we're any smarter than the next person, right? The key is recognizing and stopping. We need to recognize that the transfer has happened here, and we need to interject certain viewpoints of our viewpoint of the athlete, upbringing him, making sure that he or she feels as though they are a part of this environment and they are ready, or forgetting that altogether and bringing them back to task orientation. If you can recognize it here, you have a good chance of correcting that athlete and taking them back to the great athlete they were. When they get into this area, into that self-efficacy and that decrement to it, it's going to be very difficult to bring that athlete back out of that in that moment in time or within that time period of that competition. So we really want to avoid this area, and we want to try and recognize it right here, right now, and make those changes. Bring that athlete back to task. Avoid talking about that ego. Avoid talking about the environment. Focus on the movement. Focus on the task at hand. All right? It's a very interesting concept. A lot of times you'll see it happen at the pro level. We're going to do a talk in a little while about flow, and you'll see how other athletes may be affecting your athlete.